Again, good morning, everyone. I am so thankful for each and every one of you. First, just want to say thank you for coming out this morning. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. It is my distinct privilege to serve the community through Pocono Mountains United Way. I have been in my role for 3.5 years, and it has been exciting. And the team that I get to work with is one of the best. So I thank my team and the board of directors that serve as well. Our commitment to grow a stronger community with quality healthcare, good education, and the opportunity for financial mobility remains as strong today as it was 80 years ago when the United Way in Monroe County started. For many of you, you know that we've been celebrating our 80th year of service to the community. That's why we're wearing these lovely gold t-shirts. Also, I think I look really good in gold, so I think I'm gonna wear it next year as well. We'll just have to update that it's for the 81st year. But it's been a year of great successes, and as Philip just mentioned, the ability to transition and do things sometimes with little timing has been part of the DNA of United Way and many others that are on this call. Over this past year, I would summarize the efforts of United Way with a few words. First is hand raisers. For any of you that are intimately familiar with United Way, our team has taken on a number of new initiatives to create short-term wins and long-term solutions. The other is innovators. The team modifies their methods to enhance delivery of service and improve outcomes. And probably the third word that I would use is tenacious. The United Way staff and board are committed. They cling to our mission and they work tirelessly to serve our community. I would also say, though, that the United Way is uniquely positioned, that we are working across multiple sectors and addressing needs for systemic and root cause solutions. We've been able to leverage government and private resources, and that has been something that has been a hallmark of our organization, taking an unrestricted dollar and leveraging it up to $7.77 of impact. We're delivering programs and services as immediate interventions, and we're often using our data to inform the decisions that we make and the programs that we invest in. Data is becoming much more important to us to make sure that we are measuring what we're doing from start to finish. And one of the best parts of our job is that we continue to develop deep familiarity with our community partners, both in the nonprofit sector as well as in the areas of health, education, and financial mobility. We get to work with for-profit organizations as well as government partners because we recognize that the United Way truly requires all of us. And we're bridging and providing support to marginalized and hard-to-reach populations through our trusted messengers. All in all, today's report to the community is really a collective work of our donors, volunteers, and staff. And so I would ask that if you fit into one of those categories of either donor, staff, or volunteer, just drop one or multiple of those words into the chat. So simply write staff, board, volunteer, donor in the chat right now, just so that we can acknowledge you and thank you for your work in serving our community in many collective means. Thank you, those. Loving it, loving it. In a moment after we get populated in the chat there, I will be dropping a link to our annual report. It's a super comprehensive document that we just produced and captures a lot of those highlights that we're going to talk about today. But before we get into that, our team wanted to tell our story of our annual report in a maybe new and creative way. So Jake.
15,524 people were served last year, and the impact is clear. Education and finance and health are the reasons. How do you measure a year? In screenings and phone calls to Pocono in tax returns. 15,524 people. We thank you for making this a great year. Yeah. Woo-hoo. Hey.
Again, some things don't translate as well. Our team developed a fun, catchy song to talk about the 15,524 people that were served through United Way last year. That is the most that we've ever served in 1 year through the programs within our organization. That does not count the number of individuals served through the funded organizations that United Way supplies with financial support. So we will have that up on our YouTube channel and share on social media shortly. But it is an incredible way for us to just communicate some of the impact of our story. Todd, I will turn it to you.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, we were going to make that a cold opening. We weren't going to have any introduction. We were just going to Michael was going to stand up and get your attention, and we were just going to start playing. And oh well, hope you enjoyed the video. We certainly had fun making it yesterday. We kind of did it last night or yesterday afternoon after we realized we were going virtual. We didn't want to not do the song. So that was a lot of fun. We call it Seasons of Impact. And for any of you Broadway musical fans, it was loosely based on the song Seasons of Love from the musical Rent. But yeah, if you listen to the two, you might see a resemblance. But anyway, yeah, thank you so much. And I've worked with so many of you on this call today, and for many years I was up here on the program side of things. And as you all know, I've recently switched over to the financial side of the nonprofit world. And one of the things I've learned is that financial support is more than just a donation. It's actually an investment in our community. And like any investment, when it's made wisely, the returns can be great. And in our case, the returns are better educated and healthier residents, promoting more employment and therefore a stronger local economy. So in other words, when we invest our time, talents, and treasure into the community through United Way, everyone benefits. Each year, our neighbors come together to provide financial support that we need to make significant community impact through things like donations, event sponsorships, workplace campaigns, grants, corporate contributions, in-kind donations, and more. And the truth is, it all matters. And I'm proud to announce that we are on pace this year to have another successful campaign. And so I thank all of you who have provided support. In fact, what I'd like to do now is introduce a very small cross-section of some of the support we've gotten, because all told, we have almost 1,400 businesses, institutions, and individuals who invest in our community through United Way. And I want to talk with them just briefly so we can highlight some of the stories behind the dollars. So Philip St. James, how are you, my friend?
Doing fantastic. Good morning.
Good morning from Rome, right? Looks great. Looks great. So can you tell us how Santa Fe chose to invest in the community this year?
Well, I like to say that we donated $250,000 to support your work, because it sounds bigger, but it's $250,000. It's equal, but and mostly because of our relationship, and because we trust United Way, because you have your hand on the pulse of the community, and I can trust knowing that if I'm giving you that type of money, I know it will be used to meet the needs of the community, but also help us meet our goals here as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And why is it important to Santa Fe to support United Way's work around the social determinants of health?
So, in this position, I've been challenged to find where the gaps were in the equitable access to healthcare. And a lot of that is social determinants of health. And United Way, as I mentioned, has their pulse on the community, and you focus on that as well. So we align well with my goal and your goal, and so it's a good marriage.
Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And next up, Eric Noon from the Frogtown Chop House. How are you, Eric?
Hey, Todd, I'm doing very well. I'll tell you, I'm just as upset that we are virtual, because Trip and I had an entire 15-minute show planned. So sorry, everybody, we're gonna have to wait till next year for that.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us a little bit about how Frogtown, and congratulations on the leapfrog. For those of you who don't know,
Thank you very much.
Frogtown Chop House now has a mobile kitchen, so they can bring pretty much anything anywhere in the community now. It's super cool.
Anywhere.
Anywhere, I love it. So how did Frogtown Chop House, choose to invest this year in the community?
Absolutely. I think what's been exciting is we've had a relationship for a few years now with the United Way, and our relationship started on the social media side, using some of our voice and our social media platforms to get the word out about what Pocono Mountain United Way does. We've done some really fun videos with Michael and the rest of the crew. And then that has now grown in the blessing of, we've now been able to do that and financial support. And we partnered up with Trip Ravane of Barley Creek, and it was just an incredible experience over the past year to co-brand our brands together and sell each other's products and donate back to the United Way.
That's so awesome. That's and the one of the terms used to describe that as cause marketing, and it's a great way for particularly smaller businesses who may not have the employee base to do like a large workplace campaign. People will donate a portion of a sale of something to United Way, and in this case, Frogtown sold some Barley Creek beer, and Barley Creek sold the Frogtown crab cakes. And if you haven't had either one of those, I highly recommend both. Yeah, so that was fun, and in fact, that brings me to our next guest, Trip Ravane from Barley Creek. How are you doing this morning, Trip?
Mute. I'm unmute. I'm doing great, and Eric's correct. We had a song and dance routine that was going to be at least a half hour. So for those people out here in Zoom world, it's a good thing that it's a Zoom.
That's really funny. So what inspires you to give back to the community, Trip?
I've been doing it since day one. We opened up in December. We opened up December 15th, 1995. So today's our anniversary. So it's 27 years of participating. And if you own a business, your ultimate goal is, to take care of your family, your staff, your community. It's just part of the time-tested obligation that we have. And so the Day of Caring is one of my favorite events. The collaborative effort that Eric and I worked on this year, I think, can be expanded tremendously throughout the hospitality industry. I think we were pretty good guinea pigs for this. And, with our crab cakes, I think 80 cents of each crab cake, is donated to the United Way. And this year, we raised $1,756 as of yesterday.
So cool.
There was going to be a check presented after the song and dance routine if we were doing this live. But we'll get it to you after the snowstorm. And that, when you throw in, the in-kind donation for, the Day of Caring and a couple of personal, contributions, it's a dent, but it's not enough. And so, next year we'll try and do more.
Appreciate it. Congratulations on your anniversary.
Todd, if I can do the update too for the Barley Creek. We up till now, so we're going to project it. We obviously have two big weekends ahead of us, but we're going to be just under 1,300 draft beers and barley gins, which is putting us right around the 1,100 mark.
That's great. That's great. And the chef of Frogtown Chop House, Chef Lyman, is now one of our newest board members too. So time, talent, and treasure all counts. And I saw Tina. You want to try this crab cake? It's highly recommended. Absolutely fantastic. Great. Thank you both. It's been a great year, and in fact, we are looking to expand that program. I think now that we have some data behind that, it's a pretty compelling case for other small businesses, particularly restaurants and some of the other hospitality businesses around. So, Michael Albert, how are you this morning? You available to talk, Michael?
Good morning. Yeah. Hey, sorry, just getting myself unmuted. I'm doing
no
well,
problem.
Todd. How about yourself?
Fantastic. Now you've been involved with United Way in a number of different ways, including doing some cause marketing. Do you want to talk a little bit about your connection with United Way and why you continue to support everything that we do?
Absolutely. Well, as some of you know, I used to be in Takiva's position over there when we were United Way of Monroe County, and miss it somewhat. Is that really 3.5 years, Michael? That seems like a long time. But obviously all the issues and all the work that United Way does is near and dear to me, having been able to see the incredible need and see also the incredibly great work that United Way does when people can indeed come together and work united to address all of these complex problems in our community. So it's really great. I also happen to stayed on with United Way of Pennsylvania beyond my tenure with United Way of Monroe County. I'm presently the chair of United Way of Pennsylvania. And so with a lot of the work the United Way of Pennsylvania does is advocacy in Harrisburg, supporting local United Ways to really get their message across and have an even greater impact statewide that can affect people here in our community. So, and then of course, time, treasure, and talent. So wanted to make sure we were supporting United Way financially as well. Personally, my family does, but also Shauna Craft Brewing Company, which I've been running since leaving United Way. We were really excited to do community brew. So we did a beer specifically for United Way. It was called Cheers to 80 Years. It was an extra special bitter, which is sort of like a light amber beer. For those of you that don't know ESBs, it's a delicious style of beer. The beer came out great. We were able to give 80 cents for every draft. I was just looking, I think we sold 1,960 draft and cans. We did some cans as well. So we were able to make that contribution as a part of a larger $10,000 commitment over the next few years for United Way to support its 80th anniversary. So we're really happy to do that. We also did a summer social in our beer garden, and that was a fun little event, and we're able to give some proceeds from all sales that day. We're really happy to continue to support this great organization.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael. Yeah, and if you haven't tried their pizza is fantastic. And you use flour from Apple Ridge Farms, right, in Saylorsburg, right?
We use their pretzels for sure. We actually make all of our dough from scratch. Besides our pretzels, and everything else is made from scratch on site.
Yeah. And you can get their pizza in Easton too at the public market. At the Scratch Pizza place. Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael.
Of course, Tom, thanks.
Liz Gregg from St. Luke's. As you all know, I worked at St. Luke's for a while, still very near and dear to me. And, Liz really went above and beyond this year as the campaign chair for the Monroe campus. And I had the pleasure of spending some time over there with Liz and Jill D'Alessandro and all the great people over there. So, Liz, do you want to talk about how much St. Luke's Monroe was able to raise this year and the fun way you expanded that a little bit?
Well, St. Luke's as an organization has been so proud to support the United Way, and I think as an organization we've raised over like $425,000. But here, being the chairperson of Monroe campus, we wanted to generate some fun and some interest, and to see if we can get some new people involved in it. So we came up with a fun way of just kind of getting down and talking and having conversations about the United Way. So we came up with a campaign called Tie Up Dr. Khan. One of our hospitalist doctors always wears scrub pants, a scrub outfit. And so we were talking about just the United Way, and it came up about someone saying, well, I'd pay to see him wear a shirt and tie. So we came up with, let's tie up Dr. Khan. And he agreed for a week, if we could raise $500 just extra, he would wear a shirt and tie for the week. So we overshot our goal. We hit $1,000. And that was just, not money that we made online donations. This was just for fun. And, we hit that goal. We were really excited, and it ended up with our president, Don Seipel, teaching him how to tie a bow tie. And for the following week, he walked around with a bow tie, a shirt and tie for a full week, so that all the staff could see that he actually dressed up. He's already back down to his scrub pants, but we had a lot of fun doing it. But, more than $1,000, it raised questions amongst the staff. Hey, what does United Way do? How can we contribute in other ways? So it was really about generating a little bit of interest. It piqued everyone. We had fun. It brought a little bit of joy, in our environment. So, all around, it was more than $1,000. And, because certainly St. Luke's, we have an electronic system. Everybody can pay through their pay. They could charge it to a credit card. St. Luke's makes it very easy to donate online. This was just fun to generate interest. And I want to thank, Todd and Jake came out, and we set up a cafeteria where we gave out a little candy. We chatted, we talked about it. We gave out information about the United Way, and that was like a fun thing to do. And we did that during, the campaign. And they were able to talk with people, and really, it was really making it more personal, I think. And so I think that was our approach this year, to make it personal, to share information. And I think overall, we really felt like it was a success. I don't have the dollar amount here for Monroe, unfortunately, but I think, it was a win for us because we just had a lot of people talking about it.
Thanks. Yeah, that's such a great point. So much is we want people to feel like they're a part of United Way, because they are. Whether you support with your time, your talent, or your treasure, you're part of the solution. You're part of, neighbors helping neighbors. And that it benefits everybody. So I think it was just such great spirit the whole time that we were hanging out at the hospital and talking to people in the cafeteria. It was really, really nice. So thank you so much, Liz, and to the whole team over there at the St. Luke's Monroe Hospital.
Yeah, Todd, if I could just say something, I just want to thank Liz, because she really took on the challenge this year to be our champion. And she really just embraced it, and, really set the bar high now for next year. So, as a campus, we're a new campus. So I think that we're really, we have a really good start, and Rosemary's team with our community partners, we're really just looking forward to the coming year and everything that we can do to help support our community here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jill. And for those of you who don't know, Jill's also one of our board members too. So another person who gives of her time and talent, in addition to her treasure. Angie Kritzer from Aetna Better Health. We had, Angie and I had a conversation when I was first getting started in this new role, and why don't you take it from there? We talked about a program, and you thought, oh my gosh, that's something we want to get behind. So why don't you go ahead and tell the story there, Angie?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Angie Kreitzer with Aetna Better Health Kids. It always confuses people if it's a short I or a long I, but I'm kind of Dutchified, so it is a long I. But anyway, Aetna Better Health Kids was super excited to partner with Pocono Mountain United Way again this year. We have had partnerships throughout the years, and when Todd reached out earlier this year, we were talking about their early developmental screening program for children under the ages of 5. And he's right. It was so exciting to me. It was exactly what we were looking to add to our children's health insurance, as our members need those developmental screenings. Everybody needs those developmental screenings. But in a CHIP population, we really want to make sure that we were also getting in there and affecting change. And what better way to do that than partnering with the Pocono Mountain United Way for their early developmental screening program. And so, from there, it just has kind of taken off. And I'm super excited. Todd, Mike, the whole team, I actually have some even better news. I will be sending you guys a message later today, probably, on our commitment for 2023. So I was really hoping to be able to share that with you face to face today, but that's okay. So we'll have a little bit more of a conversation later this afternoon. I have some really great news and some great things that we can do together going forward.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and we had the big, whiteboard check. We were going to do the big check presentation today, take some pictures, and have some fun. So, like I said, we'll make it happen. But I look forward to speaking with you later.
Well, I'm going to come up for some crab cakes and some pizza and some beer and some bow ties and barbecue. So we will have plenty of chances to get together.
Awesome. And I now live in Stroudsburg. I just moved up here last week, so I'm super excited. So all those places are much closer to me now than they were when I lived in Easton. So
Nice.
awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Angie. Yeah. And last but not least, Gil Coronado. Gil, Gil had a little trouble earlier getting in. Are you available?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Good morning.
All right. So, Gil, I mean, you've done so much. This is, I think, this year is going to be the 13th year of Riverfest?
12.
12th year.
12.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, yeah, and this is something that's been going on a long time. So do you want to talk about how much you raised last year and tell us a little bit about just how you got involved with United Way?
Well, this year, we're proud to announce that, or this past year with Shawnee Riverfest, we were able to raise between in-kind and our sponsors, $28,000 to support the United Way in its mission, the Pocono Mountains United Way in its mission. And we just love the organization because of all they do in the community. First of all, I'd love to give a shout out to the United Way's staff, Linda and Roxanne and everyone there is such great, and you as well, Todd. It's just when you have that level of support, it's amazing the results that you can do with the fundraising effort. And the childhood development program is very dear to my heart. So I really am proud to support the United Way in its mission and the many programs that they do in the community. So it's just a great effort. It just, as Michael called it, a rallying point for the community every summertime. And it's just a day of leisure, fun, entertainment, and community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gil. And it's always so much fun doing Riverfest. I went to Riverfest a couple of times, just as an attendee. And last year I got to help organize and run things. And it just, you're a real joy to work with and so well organized.
Yeah, and
the
the Shawnee Riverfest concert is just great because between the food vendors and the Shawnee Inn and Golf Resort and just the community coming together because of the length of the event, it's just a day of leisure, and it's just a day of like Michael said before, community. And the Shawnee Riverfest concert, that's really just the mission, is just to provide a rallying point for the community to come together and support the United Way and its mission.
That's so awesome. Thank you, Gil.
Thank
All
you.
right. And actually, I just found out Linda Rice from Mountain View Vineyards is on the call. So, hey, Linda.
Hey, Todd, how are you?
I am fantastic.
Good. I'm sorry, I could not get on my laptop, so I'm on my phone.
No problem. So Linda, you and Randy have been longtime supporters of United Way as well. What are you excited about in this next year's of fundraising?
Well, we're doing something that's similar to Trip and Eric and Lyman. In fact, it was because of what they're doing that it gave us an idea. We are partnering with Silverback Distillery, and we've created a cocktail using their honey whiskey. I think it's honey whiskey. I'm not the bartender, so I know it's the one with honey and it's delicious. And we are donating a portion, I think it's 10% of the cocktail sales. And they are selling a couple of our wines, and they're donating a portion of every glass of wine that they sell. We did just start it, so I don't have any numbers, of course, but we're really excited about it. And so far, our guests are loving the cocktail. So we're really super excited. And maybe we can partner with someone else along the way. We do a lot of fundraisers, like Trip mentioned earlier, giving back to the community. That's just something that you do when you have a business in the area. And for the United Way this year, so far for 2022, we were able to support them by hosting a really fun 80s, back to the 80s like it was a disco event. in the evening. It was so much fun. Everyone was dressed in really cool outfits, and we donated a portion of sales for that evening. We were able to support them by being a sponsor for the 80s gala. And then we also supported them by being at an event. And I was there at the event as well, wine and cheese pairing that we just did to kick off Giving Tuesday. And my husband and I made a large donation for that evening as well. So we do everything we can for the United Way because we love them so much, as well as a lot of organizations in the community.
Awesome. That's so great, Linda. Yeah, we love working with you as well. It's a great relationship. Yeah, you know, and several people brought up the word trust today, and I want you to know we don't take that word lightly. We really appreciate that people trust us to invest their money. I sometimes use the analogy that we're kind of like a mutual fund for community impact. You know, if there's a particular cause or you know that matters to you, you go and buy that individual stock. But if you just want to, you know, have broad impact and you trust us to decide where your investment should go, we do not take that lightly and try to do the best we can to manage your impact and money. So as you can see, there's lots of ways to be part of United Way. Those are just some of the few. So I thank all of you who are willing to share your story. And now I'd like to turn it over to Sarah Jacoby, our Vice President Impact, and she's going to talk a little bit about where your investment goes and the impact that it creates in our community. Sarah?
Yeah, thanks, Todd. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be able to spend a little bit of time with you on what looks to be shaping up to be a snowy day here in the Poconos. But I know we'll all be looking forward to being around the swimming pools and the lakes and everything else pretty soon. So I'm so proud to share with you that, you know, as you heard in our song at the top of the event here, Pocono Mountains touched the lives of 15,524 people this year. And if you think about it, that's 1 in every 12 people. So just take a moment and think about how many people maybe work in your department, how many people are in your child's classroom, how many people live on your street. The odds are good that someone you know has been touched by the work of Pocono Mountains United Way. And really, we could not do that work without each and every one of you who are on the call here today. So I am so grateful for the opportunity to share some highlights of our work over the last year here with you this morning. One of our longest standing and really best known programs is the Pocono Info Helpline. That program started in 2004 and since then has served almost 90,000 people. This year alone, we have helped over 5,000 callers with information and referral services to human services here in Monroe County. One of the primary focus areas of that program is connecting people with those services that they need. And one of the main reasons why people call Pocono Info in the last couple of years is related to housing assistance. Pocono Mountains United Way has several different programs that we provide directly to help homeowners and renters in need to stay in their homes and keep the lights and the heat on. You heard earlier Philip St. James talk about social determinants of health, and we know that safe and stable housing is so important both to the individual and collective health of our community, and that's why it remains one of our primary focuses. A little over 2 years ago, we actually launched our eviction mediation program to work directly with landlords and tenants to help them avoid eviction, which is disruptive to tenants and also very costly to the landlords. So Linda Paw has been working to develop and run that program ever since. And we're just so proud to share that she has a 98% success rate in keeping people housed at least 30 days after they receive mediation services. Linda was recently honored for her work by the Housing Alliance of Pennsylvania, and we're so proud to share in that joy with her of seeing her hard work and her efforts be recognized. You know, I could tell you the story of how programs like eviction mediation positively impact the lives of our friends and neighbors, but I definitely could not tell that story any better than a client who was directly served. So we're going to take a minute to hear from one mom in her own words.
I had lost my job. I had a very good job when I had been out on our own, and then COVID hit and I had been unemployed for about 1.5 years, and only recently, April, had gone back to work, but at less than half of my original pay. So with 2 small children, the inflation and everything else taking place, bills fell behind.
Our eviction mediation program came about really in the throes of the lockdown with the COVID-19 pandemic. We looked around and we said there is not going to be enough rental assistance to keep everybody housed when we had something like a 22% unemployment rate in the county. The eviction moratoriums, they did their role initially, but we recognized that we were going to need something that was going to be a little more creative and a little more sustainable.
I think what makes our program unique is the way I do it. Most mediation programs will do in-person mediations where two people are there and you're mediating. I do that, and I do it via Zoom if need be. But I found early on during the pandemic that many times landlords were like, I don't want to take the time out of my day to go and do that. And so they were saying no. And I thought, wait a minute, there's got to be a better way. Instead of saying no to all these people, what can I do to make them say yes? So I said, well, would you talk to me on the phone? And they're like, absolutely.
We started that program in October of 2020 and successfully have been running it ever since then, with Linda doing great work.
I've served over 255 families in the 2 years since we've been doing this, which equals about 647 individuals. And there's a 98% rate of people avoiding eviction.
If it wasn't for Linda and reaching out to Linda, the boys and I would not have a home at this point in time to stay in. She was a saving grace when everybody else kind of just disappeared and had no answers or kind of just gave up and said there's nothing I can do.
I have a soft voice, I have a non-threatening voice. People, they listen to me. I want them to be heard and I want to be able to help them. And that's my goal. I feel like I guess this is the way I put it. I feel like everything that I've experienced in my life, all the ups and downs and everything I've done has brought me to this point. That at this point in my life, and later age in life, I have found my niche. I have found what I'm supposed to be doing.
And I know Linda is truly grateful for this opportunity to have her work recognized at the state level. We really hope that we are able to add to the body of knowledge of how mediation works, some of the best practices that are in place, and how this can be a truly successful program in many communities around the state.
Like I said, I couldn't say it any better. If you heard that mom say, everybody else had no answers, everybody else disappeared, everybody else said, I don't know what to tell you, there's nothing more I can do. And Linda stepped up, and that family is housed today, really after coming very, very close to losing their home and not being able to stay in our community. That mom was looking at having to pull her kids out of school where they had just gotten settled in. And so truly life-changing work. And we're so proud of results just like that. That's just one story. We have hundreds and hundreds of stories just around housing where people have been impacted, whether that's a mother and her children being served through the emergency rental assistance program to remain housed, keep the lights on, keep the heat on. We have done this over and over again and had really the privilege of serving our community in the last couple of years in this particular way around housing. So like I said, that's just one of our focus areas. We're also looking at education and making sure that children are starting school ready to learn. And many of you are aware that for Giving Tuesday this year, we had money raised for the expansion of our Smile in-home mentoring program. That program went into the homes of 18 children last year and provided over 480 hours of mentorship to children and their families. We saw as a result of that intervention a 30% increase in the developmental assessments of children who receive services and a 4.5% increase in the home environment assessments. So not only are the kids doing better, but the parents are supported. And one of the stories that we heard from our one of our Smile coordinators was serving a family where the parent had a learning disability, and the parent felt like she was not going to be able to support her children and give what they needed to learn. The Smile coordinator was able to go in and provide not only support for the child, but also for the parent, and really empower her and get her to a point where she felt like she knew what to do to best support her kids as they got ready to go into kindergarten. Our Healthy Start Early Childhood Screening Program is another critical resource for many families in our community. That program provides 5 different developmental screenings and now dental screenings as well to children from birth to age 5 so that they are ready to start kindergarten on the right foot and ready to learn. We conducted about 3,200 screenings through 2021 and 2022 and have totaled over 25,000 screenings since that program began. We're seeing now a sharp increase in the number of children that are essentially failing the screening and being referred to additional services. And so we're working through a partnership to be able to monitor what's going on with that and what's necessary to be able to support these kids as they enter kindergarten, many of them having had their preschool years kind of disrupted by the pandemic. Of course, we also continue to focus on financial mobility. Our VITA program, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, helps community members to not only save money on their taxes and get back what is theirs, but also making sure that they're getting all of the income supports and credits that they qualify for. Last tax season, we were able to prepare 188 returns, bringing in over $208,000 in refunds back into our community and generating over $40,000 in savings on those tax preparation fees. So we're really proud to be preparing to offer that program again for this upcoming tax season, knowing that these are vital income supports to low and moderate income families in our community. You know, looking into the future, we continue our work on housing across several fronts with our housing Director of Housing Initiatives, Tom Campbell, really working to develop partnerships and to find creative ways to bring more front doors into our community. We're also working on expanding our eviction mediation program to better serve both at-risk tenants and landlords to prevent eviction and keep people stably housed. This year, we also started 2 new programs, Project Equity and Generation Next, which is being run in partnership with Pocono Mountains School District. Both programs are part of our commitment to provide equitable opportunities for underrepresented people in our communities, and in particular, first-generation college students. And Project Equity is providing equity-centered capacity building for 20 nonprofits serving our community. So we're very proud to be able to support them in their work. We continue to focus on the ALICE population, those of our friends and neighbors who are asset limited, income constrained, employed. These are those people who are often just that one emergency away from a financial crisis. You know, one sick kid, a couple of missed shifts, one unexpected car repair, and they're going to be in a really dire situation of perhaps not being able to afford rent. So that does continue to be a primary focus for us. We're also looking at expanding some workplace stability supports and a new focus on workplace wellness under development as well. So stay tuned for more about that. And finally, I'm proud to mention that we were very honored to secure a $1.1 million congressional appropriation that's going to allow us to expand our support for children and their families as they prepare to enter kindergarten. You know, our mission, we've talked about this since the start of the program, but our mission is to mobilize resources. And one of the tools that we're increasingly using to do this is advocacy. That will continue to be a focus for us in the upcoming year. That allows us to not only lift up the voices and the stories of those who are often marginalized in our community, but we can also drive dollars into our community to help solve problems. To that end, Pocono Mountains United Way was one of 3 United Ways that was invited to attend a summit at the White House a few months ago, where Michael Tukiva was able to represent us and also share some information not only about our work, but the needs in our community. So that was definitely a point of pride for all of us. You've heard me mention about some of the programs that we run. I know many of the faces are familiar to us. We are all on the Zoom call this morning, and we would love to talk with you, to connect a little bit more and answer any questions that you might have about some of the programs that I mentioned. So with that, I am going to turn it back over to Michael Tukiva, our President and CEO, to close things out. Michael.
Thank you, Sarah. As our team and a number of people had shared, it is a community effort. So when I went down to the White House a couple months ago, it was to represent not just Pocono Mountains United Way, but the resiliency, the impact, the efforts that are being done in Monroe County. It was a community win for us to be really one of 40 in Pennsylvania to be highlighted. And we continue to look at ways for us to develop best practices. this holiday to-do list that we're going to close on is just a reminder. We sent this out as a postcard to a number of our donors, partners, community members, and I would say that pause and think about this. And it does not need to be Pocono Mountains United Way. Obviously, this was ours, so we sent it out that way. But to think about just the amazing organizations, a number of them, have shared their partnership with us in the chat. Please consider supporting them as well. They are doing great things to address basic needs like our food and housing, as well as taking care of children in our community. They're all awesome. We're a big fan of the organizations that we get to work with on a regular basis. We're thankful for all of you that joined us to hear just a brief update. The links that we put in the chat for the impact summary and the annual report, please peruse through those, get to know us a little bit more. If you do have more specific questions, I'll drop my information in the chat. We'd love to have those conversations about how your contributions are making an impact and some of the future growth story that Sarah just talked about. It's critical work. We know it's important. We know it's costly to support it, but we also know it's costly not to support it. So we wish you just a warm greeting and blessing as you exit today's meeting, as you go throughout the rest of your day. Know that you have a friend and partner in Pocono Mountains United Way, and just a grateful organization that is really recognizing our privilege in being able to serve. So with that, we thank you again. We wish you well. And if anyone wants to visit any of the eateries and restaurants that we mentioned today, you probably have a number of folks that are willing to go. Just drop that in the chat, and you'll get a couple friends to hang out with y'all. So thank you again. God bless, and enjoy this day. So long.